Hey, this is Robert Monroe, and I want to give you a video where we break down how to make practicing go better. I have been playing music pretty much my entire life, over 25 years of making music. I'm a professional musician, and here's just 5 of my favorite tips on how to make sure that we get that practice time in and that's super productive. So we're going to first start out with this first one, which is we want to prioritize practicing over urgent tasks. If I've got a bunch of clothes lying out that need to be cleaned, a pile of dishes, and I got, some other random emails that I need to do for work, and then I got the piano sitting here, which do you think I'm going to do first? I'm probably going to do the things that I have a sense of urgency about. That person that said, hey, I need an email back today. The pile of dishes that I know I'm going to get judged on if I have people over tonight. That's all the stuff I'm going to put first. Here's the problem with that. That stuff happens again the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Now, if I don't practice, nobody cares about that except for me. But it's going to start hurting me long term as time goes on. So instead, I need to fix that and reshape it so that I put practicing as the number one and then put all those things after. Again, some days are outliers. You got a dentist appointment first thing in the morning. I'm not saying you got to wake up and practice before then, although you would get it in if you did that first. All right, let's get into number 2. The carrot or the stick, or eat a live bullfrog. Before you go, what is going on? He just glitched out. Let me explain. Carrot or stick, or, you catch more bees with honey. All of those type of sayings are all getting to this truth, which is things that are sweeter, more pleasant, will tend to draw more people in than things that are harsh and cruel and negative. So you can do the same human psychology on yourself. If you put the things that you enjoy about piano or your instrument, this could be for any instrument, first, then you're going to have a much better time getting yourself to practice. Let's say you play a bit of pop music and you just love to jam out playing pop music, but also you want to play some scales and you want to work on classical. Do the pop music first. What will happen is, as you play through and have a good time there, then you're going to look around and be like, well, I'm at the piano anyway. And then boom, you're on to the next thing. You're practicing. It's wonderful. What about eating a live bullfrog? That's a really old saying about saying, eat a live bullfrog first thing in the morning. It'll be the hardest thing you do all day. And this is kind of the reverse psychology, but it does work if you're this type of person. And that is, if you can convince yourself, if you can force yourself to do something really hard right away in the beginning of the day, then the rest of the day will be a piece of cake. And in some similar way, you can treat practicing the same way. Maybe the first thing you do is that thing you're dreading, that thing that you hate to do. Whether that's scales, whether that's practicing a hard passage, whether that's eyes closed practice, slow practice, metronome, whatever that thing is that you just absolutely abhor, do that first and you will be able to then just go into your practicing. It'll be a piece of cake, right? Because you did the hard thing first already. Which one of these is better for you? I can't answer that. I know for myself, it kind of varies day to day, although I would say most of the time I prefer doing the harder thing first. That tends to work better for me, but you may find that it works different for you. Let's get into number 3. Number 3 is you need to have a clear goal. What are you practicing for? Just generally getting better at piano is not going to cut it. You are not going to have great practicing sessions if you're just going, I'm just trying to get better at piano. That is too nebulous. Now, on the other hand, you may have a very specific goal that may just have too aggressive a time frame. Even that's better than being too nebulous because you can always readjust. But ultimately, what you want is something that is definable, that you can understand which direction you're going towards, and that you really want to do. So let's imagine that you really want to get better at improv. That's still fairly nebulous. So you go, okay, I'd love to get to the point where I can keep my left hand playing an accompaniment part while I improvise with my right hand. Now we have direction. Now we have a way to structure our practicing to get there. Classical music in many ways is the GOAT with this because it's so structured to begin with. If I'm learning a classical piece, There's well understandable time frames involved, ways of practicing, how to approach it, how to chunk it up. That's all right there. And that kind of gets me to step number 4, or tip number 4, and that is 5-minute practice chunks. This is for those that really find that they don't have enough time to play the piano. Or you find that you sit there for 3 hours and then you don't even know what you played after you're done. For both groups, it's kind of similar. You can really benefit from this. And that is, not only do you have that big clear goal, I'm going to learn this piece, I'm going to get better at improv, I'm going to learn jazz and how to sight read, or learn ear training. Big goal, right? Well, you scale that sucker down and go, what one thing could I do in the next 5 minutes that would make me get a little bit closer to that goal? So for a classical piece, again, this is really straightforward. You could be like, I'm going to learn 2 measures of music. That's it. Just 2 measures of music. What happens when you get to that end of that 5 minutes? Well, you get an option. If you're super busy that day, maybe you go, I'm done. 5 minutes of piano? What? That's it? Well, you can get better with just 5 minutes. But it doesn't have to be 5 minutes and then you're done. You can go 5 minutes and then restart and go, I'm going to do another 5 minutes. Well, it could be on the same thing and you keep improving, or it could be another 2 measures or another different idea. Let me get to the final one, which is number 5, and that is outside accountability. Now, the most obvious, straightforward version of this is going to be a teacher or a mentor. But in reality, this could be almost anything. This could be a way that you set it up for yourself. I've thought actually recently about using AI as basically a notebook, an evolving notebook of practicing, right? So you type in what you practiced today, and it will interact with you and give you prompts of what you should be practicing and what maybe you shouldn't. And it's probably going to get stuff wrong, but it doesn't matter. It's some way, some system that you have that is going to let you avoid spinning your wheels and just being off on an island with yourself. Now, I wouldn't recommend AI as your main one. I would actually say, again, having a person that you respect watching you, mentoring you, that's really, really good. That's going to really make a huge difference. Well, which one of these spoke to you? Are you doing all 5 already? Comment below, like, subscribe. It all super helps. What else would you like to hear me talk about? I'm really trying to use more long-form videos to try to encourage people, to educate them, to challenge them, and hopefully lead to more people playing music, having a good time. Until next time, see you later.